Liverpool 2, Fulham 0. Liverpool back to winning ways. So I was happy that after that bullshit performance against Red Star, we got the victory. I thought that we was going to absolutely annihilate them today because I thought Fulham had a shit defence, bottom of the league, and I wanted us to score at minimum of 4.
So that's what I'm saying. This is the problem we have. You know what I mean? People like you, bro. You're a problem.
But what do you reckon though? Because first things first though, the atmosphere at Anfield today was shocking. Now, the only thing I can think of, I blame Tony Bellew for the late box office fight. Everybody was like hungover and shit, I could imagine. But the 12 o'clock start, I don't know if that has something to do with it, but the atmosphere at Anfield today was noticeably one of the worst and the quietest I've ever seen it. And
yeah, I actually have to I echo that. But like you say, I mean, and this sounds quite petty, but it's not petty, but it's quite a small thing. But I actually think the boxing might have had a knock-on effect to it. I genuinely believe that. You know that because they're a sport. It's a sporting city. They do love their sport, and obviously everyone backs Bellew.
Even us, well, come on, we was there at 12 o'clock going, after that late night, after watching the boxing and then carrying after that. So I don't know if it was the 12 o'clock, but
potentially. But
again,
well, I think it is tough to. The problem with these sorts of clubs, like the Liverpools and the Man Cities and the Uniteds and stuff, is that there are going to be times where, you know what it's like when someone says, "Oh, I've got a season ticket. I can't. I'm happy to give this one up." You know, so a lot of it isn't the diehards. A lot of it's a lot of like tourists and stuff like that. So I don't know, but as I said, it's 3 points that were needed, and like, God, did we need them? And it's good to get them. And obviously, with the results how they went elsewhere, it's nice to be back to winning ways and keep a clean sheet. Although I believe we were very, very, very fortunate to keep a clean sheet today.
I mean, a lot of people could make out this game was all about to do with this whole goal that should have stood for Fulham, and then we went to score from there. For me, that is offside. Now, it was very close when you're watching it live, but it's quite clear afterwards that Mitrovic's shoulder is offside.
I thought it was offside. I think you made that point to me earlier because we were both the same. We both went. I think it looks offside to me. I mean, unless you're going to have VAR. I mean, even if then on VAR it probably would it'd probably be offside. It was tight. I'm not going to deny that it was tight. But the only thing was the moving ball. And I think again looking at that, it's like it's a moving ball, but he's threw it back like that, so it's going to stop anyway. He hardly gains an advantage that there was a slight movement on the ball. But obviously, if we're going to go by the letter of the law, then I guess that's where you pick it out. But the only thing I would say to you is that I believe we were lucky to not concede a goal today. I thought Fulham were actually, were able to create chances when they. I actually thought quite comfortably. I thought that the way they set up, the way they play, they can fly forward. If their decision making was a little bit better, they could have really punished Liverpool today.
I think that's the main thing. It was the decision making. Like, Fulham got into some very good positions, and that Sessegnon chance that should have been buried. That was a very vital stage. Did Liverpool all over them? Let's be honest, they were all over them, and like we said, Fulham, they defended pretty well. They were very well organised. But they didn't take the chances.
They didn't take the chances, and like you said, that clinical. We talk about say what you want about Salah, but the way to that goal, to go from goal kick to boom, 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 finish, goal done was great to see. And it's not. As I said, I believe that SHAQIRI has been the purchase of the summer for everybody. Just for the value for money that you're getting. I mean, I'm watching. I know I'll go back to it, but like I watched the Arsenal game earlier, and I saw what Xhaka done for their goal. I'm looking at that and thinking, Xhaka cost them P. Xhaka cost P. And I'm looking at that and thinking, SHAQIRI's 13.5 million when we signed him, and look what he's doing. And you've got people like Xhaka doing mad shit, and he's cost that so much money. Matic cost mad shit as a midfielder. They're doing mad. So for me, I'm very happy with him. I think he's a great signing.
But I think it's what he offers us. Like the team seem missing that even in the middle. Someone just very direct, take some shots, take some risks. Like you said a bit earlier about how much sort of arrogance he has about the way he plays and the way he backs himself, and that's
his confidence. He's so confident in his ability, and some Liverpool become a bit samey. It becomes a bit samey when teams park the bus against Red Star. They sat back and they said Liverpool, right, do something. And I'm not saying he would have changed the game. I thought the team was poor that day, but I'm just saying he's the sort of person that will just get the ball out of his feet and buy a ticket. You buy a ticket if you want to win the lottery. There's loads of people say, "Oh, I wish I won the lottery. I wish I won the lottery." They don't buy a ticket. The only way you're going to win the lottery is if you buy a ticket. The only way you're going to score a goal is if you take a shot.
And Biq Shaq's finish. Woof. When it comes over, you think that could go anywhere. It could go anywhere. No, he just slotted it comfortably. I mean, there's stuff like that. He doesn't offer you just on the midfield, but he can score goals. Yeah. So I think he was a major difference for us today. Robertson just seemed to be involved in everything that we did down that side. So if anyone's got anything bad to say about Robertson, about some of his distribution, his crosses, the guy is just like a Energizer bunny. Just literally
his work ethic. I can't get enough of it. I find it so infectious. You know, and like how what he does, I think it like for everybody else sort of buzzes off it and feeds off it a little
100%.
bit. So which is good. The one thing that worried me a little bit was I know I gave Karius loads of grief. Well, not grief, but I always pulled him up when we did our videos. Then was that save that Alisson made today. He went to try and catch it, and it was like kind of awkward and it kind of just fell straight back into the mix. That could have been another option. Anyone a bit more, as I said, a striker that was probably a little bit more switched on would potentially punish you for that. So there was stuff today which I felt it was a bit like, oh my god, we're still doing stuff that's not great. But again, it's good to have a bad performance, and it was a bad performance, and it was shit. To come back and win and keep a clean sheet, no one's going to look at that now, and we can build on that and a confidence thing, because you do start questioning yourself. I mean, as I said, even the levels are different, but when we've been on a run, you have a little dip, you start thinking, oh, you know what, maybe the wheels are falling off. Maybe you start thinking those negative thoughts, and to get a win, 2 goals, 2 different goal scorers, clean sheet, that's the facts now, and now you move on, you take that momentum into the coming games.
In terms of Fulham, I also want to mention that it's Sessegnon and Mitrovic. Mitrovic was an absolute beast. You know, the way he was holding the ball, and this was the first time I've seen someone really go at our centre-back, the Bunda, and Gomez. The way he was bringing it down, holding them off, that was the first time I've ever seen it, and I think they have to be mentioned in his videos because he played well. And Sessegnon, a lot of people took him from a long time, but the guy is decent.
He is decent, but I'm a bit of a loser, and I'd like to watch loads of games, and I do watch most games. He's actually not been great this season. He hasn't started very well. There's a lot of hype. He's only 18 or something like that, so let's not get too carried away. But there is a player in there. There is definitely a player. I believe that he there was a lot of stuff linking him to Tottenham. I think he is tailor-made for Spurs. I think he is a Spurs player. I mean, don't get me wrong. It'd be great for us to have him. I'm not going to say that, but like take anything away. But obviously he's a Londoner. He's from down south. I think and especially with the way that Tottenham are set up at the minute, I think he'll be good for them. For me, obviously, I'm happy with Robertson anyway, but I think there is a player in there, and it's good to see for England because there are stuff that needs to work on. I think someone told me before, someone who I know who's got a lot of championship experience and knowledge said that don't look at him as a left back. He's on the team sheet as a left back. He's not a left back. He will just keep flying forward and keep flying forward. The difference is in the Premier League, and it shows because they're bottom, and they've been shipping goals, is that in the Premier League you get punished. If you leave a gap, teams are good enough and they have the quality to exploit that. So it would be interesting, it would be a good learning curve for him to see how he comes on and progresses as a player.
The other point I'm going to mention again is Klopp subs. Now, we were 2-0 up and he had only used 1 sub at the time. And I was watching the clock go by, 70 minutes, 75 minutes, 77. And then he brings on Naby Keita and brings on Milner, I think it was. Milner first, towards the 77th minute, something like that. And then he brought Naby Keita in the 90th minute. Now, talk to me about these subs. Now, 2-0 up, you bring on James Milner. Milner's been playing all season. He's got enough game time. Why not try someone different? It was great to see Hendo come on. It was great to see Keita come on, because I think that's what we're missing right now. But anything else on those subs? Do you think that makes any sense for you, those subs, and the timing of them?
I agree with you. That, like, I know you've got a bee in your bonnet about his subs. You always bring it up.
Just to see what value they add to the team.
I'll give you an example of where I'd say the differences are. Is Pep Guardiola today in that Manchester derby? It's a huge game. It's a huge
Great
game.
example.
The game was won. Phil Foden. Boom. Boom. On you go, bruv. Go and get some minutes. Go and get some experience of what this atmosphere feels like. There's Danny Alves that said something about how he compares playing for Pep
and his sex.
To sex. Yeah, that's what he compares it to. That guy's obviously, he knows how to bring that next person in. He knows how to bring that next person in. Foyth scored for Spurs today. He gave away 2 penalties in the week. Manager played him again. Stuck by him to show you that sort of there is something there. So that's my only thing. As I said, obviously Klopp's not won anything with Liverpool yet. I believe it will happen, but there are certain things I'm starting to think people, you either love him or you hate him, don't you? And I think there's a reason for that, because if you're not in his plans, if you're not in his 14 players that he really likes, I almost think to yourself, like, well, there's no point being here. But
can you see? Since we're watching Klopp, can you see any youngsters coming in? Has he trialled anyone? Has he given anyone a real go?
No, he hasn't.
Has he?
He hasn't. And again, like you say, there's players like, for what's his name, Woodburn, that came onto the scene, but he only played him because he really had to. As soon as he had the opportunity to get rid of him or not play him, he took the opportunity. So, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not going to criticise because he's been doing good stuff for Liverpool. But you're right. The substitution thing's a little bit like, well, why? This is the opportunity to do it. Why not do it? So, yeah, first time, I definitely agree with you on that.
So to wrap this video up, it is international break coming up. Thank God. Yeah, right. But any man of the matches for you?
I would just say, I just like the fact that, you know, for me, Mo Salah, the only reason I would say him is because I thought he was as a threat today. He was a threat. And I think the one thing I do like about him is that although he got a lot of criticism, that moment he was alive to it and took the opportunity. So he was the man. I think that was a moment of the match for me. And for me, that's why I'd say he was probably my man of the match for that reason.
For me, it was a toss-up between Robbo and Biq Shaq. I think they were the most influential players. Robertson was constantly running down that wing and involved in everything going forward and back. And Biq Shaq, for me, was the difference. He had that sort of tenacity to go at the team directly. And I'll probably go Robbo just because of what he's involved in the game.
Fair.
So we've got an international break, and until then, we will see you then. If you've got any views upon this video, let us know. And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Peace.